I had talked about the GitHub project or the OS2 World GitHub project, I think last year also, and what I'm trying to do. First, what I'm trying to do is to consolidate all the available source code that is on the internet, that is on CDs, that is everywhere, on floppies, on a single place. And all OS2 source code that comes from books, from samples, from articles, uh, from from people that create open source software, and even from IBM samples. Okay, so I'm trying to grab all source code related to OS2 and put it on GitHub, like trying to have a central point of all that source code. Why do I'm doing this is because, well, source code is also part of the knowledge. Sometimes when developers are trying to make software, they say, okay, I can read about this function, I know what is the input, what is the output, but I need some samples. I need to know how people are using this function, how people are really coding with it, with this one. So the best way is to try to find a project and see, oh, this is the way this developer is doing the thing with these functions. So I think that it was a great idea to try to put it all together, and GitHub used to offer well, offers now a good platform for developers of public and open source software. Well, I think that Luis already talked about GitHub and how it works. It's a source code versioning software, like SVN, like it used to be CVS. CVS, right?
CVS, yeah.
CVS. No, I think it's also a commercial brand, so, with the other B.
That's just evil. So
Okay.
let's not talk
Okay.
about
Yeah.
that.
Well, CVS, the code versioning software, that is, I think, is no longer used too much.
Right.
SVN is more adopted, and JIT is now what all the youngsters are smoking. Okay. So, what I done is try to consolidate this. And the good thing is, of course, that the source code is available publicly, can be searched by Google, can be searched with other search engines. So when you're trying to look for some weird function that is for OS2, it points, yeah, Google responds with the documentation with the ADM2, but it's also responds with some of the samples on the GitHub. So it's also searchable, and you can find things on here. Okay, so what I have done for the moment, I try to consolidate some kind of list on the OS2 World Wiki of open source software. So starting maybe with drivers, I try to find which drivers are open source, which drivers has the source codes available, and try to make like a list. Also in the OS2 World disorganized wiki is is difficult to find it, but this page is linked from the main page, so you will be able to find it. So for example, here are the drivers, name, type of the driver, license, sometimes not specified. When it's not specified, it's not really an open source project. It's just someone is that giving you the source and doesn't give you any conditions to use the source code. So what are you going to do with that? That it comes, sometimes that is a big question. So sometimes people say, okay, if he put the source code here without a license, it means I can use it and turn it open source or turn it closed source. Yeah? And when I turn it open source, let's see which license I'm going to use. Also, if I turn it closed source, I will choose a license for it. Okay? Sometimes. Okay, so sometimes it's like not desirable to have some open source project that is with or source project that gives you the source code, but it's not specify which license. How do you want to use the source code? it can backfire in a few years when you get rich. It will say, hey, you get rich with my sample of the driver, and I didn't specify how to use it, so come on. It's unlikable on our conditions. Yeah, it's something unlikable, but well, there you have that risk.
Yeah.
Okay. Some other, well, aspiroad or FreeSC is not specified. This is GNU GPL, which is the most known open source license for very useful Linux. And I have the link to the repository of each one. For example, we were talking about, let me see if I find it. Control F is faster, but I want to scroll down. Rodent, okay? Rodent is, I remember that the author sent me the source code, and he released it. Oh no, I don't know if it was to me or if he already released it as public domain. Public domain means that it clearly specifies you can do whatever you want with it. So you can turn it open source, you can turn it closed source. Public domain is like the Bible that is public domain. So you can add things to the Bible, and you can sell the Bible. Well, if you add things to the Bible, you will get problems. Okay, but the law allows it. Okay, because it's public domain. Yeah, that is how public domain works. So, for example, this is the repository for the driver rodent. I tried to put something to try to organize the names of the repository, like DRV dash the name of the project. Something it's not right in stone, but I tried to organize something because just putting names there, it doesn't say you what it is, what kind of project it is. Okay, so we have the source code rodent, we have all the DDPs, and I think the meat is in rodent C and rodent ASM, right? I'm not a developer, so I think that the meat of the driver is right there. Here's the source code. It makes you nice colors for the source code, the layout. So this all can be searched from either Google or also from GitHub. You can search all this. If we go to the main page of, is it fine? Yeah. github.com/os2world. In GitHub, you can create an organization and put your repositories or your projects there. Okay, so the organization is os2world, and all the repositories I have like 1,907. I'm saying right the numbers?
1,907.
1,907 repositories with some OS2 related source code. Okay, so on the last year, I've been like 4 years working with this now that I think about it. And in the last year, I have found a lot more source code, but more based on samples from development tools. So if you see something like dev samples, it means it was on some package from a developer giving you, this is the sample to work your software. In general terms, sometimes you have to read each one. For example, I'm going to open, I don't know, maybe this one, I don't know what. This is a freeware, this is imp list, freeware utility to enhance the output of XHDR program. Even I really don't understand exactly what it does. But let's be honest. Okay, I just see its source code. It has a point C, a point ASM. I want it there. So I grab this. I just try to document a little bit about it. For example, license is not specified. The compile tools I didn't know exactly, or the documentation, or maybe I didn't read the make file to see exactly which tools were used to compile this, and I put the author there for people to know who was the original author of it. Okay, and then I document it. Let me see if we can find another. There we have another example. For example, libraries, the thing like runtime libraries, I try to put like a sleep, okay, with the name. This is a utility for the system and system load. System load is, I think you may know system load. It's the program that checks the CPU, memory. It's quite modern and is getting often updates. So I also, this is not from the developer. This is like my repository, but I keep updating the source code every time he releases a new version. So I keep trying to have the source code at the same level of the developer. I'm not sure the developer that is Andre what is using for source code versioning, but I have my copy right here, and then it's public. That is it. His source code is also public, but he posts a file on hubs with the source code. So I got it from there and I upload it here so it can be searchable, okay? And he has the BSD3 closed license, which is a very liberal open source license that also allows you to go closed source or change it to a more open source license like the GNU GPL, a more strict license, more virulent license, but see it as the virus of law, okay?
Yeah.
That is the GNU GPL, okay? I remember, personal comment, I remember when I was working at IBM was about open source, saying, no, let's do the Apache license because the Apache license allows us to close the source code of some parts and sell it as a commercial software because we're a commercial company. That's fine. But once I leave IBM and say, okay, yes, IBM wants to, the idea of IBM with open source is then try to sell it. Now that I'm outside IBM and I'm a regular person, I feel more familiar with GNU GPL that will allow the source code always to be open and cannot be closed.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's according to your condition, you may choose your open source license, yeah? So I don't think there's nothing wrong with the GNU GPL license, while others are really mad about that. I cannot connect it to other things. I go, no. Why don't we make everything GNU GPL?
Yeah.
Do you want to close source it in the future? Oh, that's why you don't want GPL. Maybe that's why. If you want it open source forever, it's GPL. There's no issue with that for me. Okay? Lawyers may think different. Okay, so we have another drivers, util systems, and okay, I'm fine with it. Time. For example, some apps from the internet, online software, that is software that it's a work in progress from John, I don't remember the last name, that is trying to make like a catalog from the EC Soft 2 website on the software that you can download the software from there. It's a work in progress. It's, I forgot about it. It is developing in that tool I don't like that Alex uses a lot.
VxRex.
VxRex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it because it's closed source and like the development tool doesn't have future, but people really like it, and you can do quick things on that. It's like, I don't know, if it should be compared like the Visual Basic for
Yes.
OS2.
Yeah.
It's like the dream tool when you can develop things quickly and release something that works, but you are also locking yourself in something that is not a standard, that is Visual Basic.
Yeah.
And Visual Basic also doesn't have a feature. This was discontinued also by
Yeah.
Microsoft, so it's like that. So I have several repositories that with time I have been including. The idea of the repositories are not that all the almost 2,000 projects became active. The idea is to have the place where you can try to search for the knowledge of how people used to develop things in OS2 with specific functions, with a lot of things. And if you use the search tools, for example, search repositories, I don't know, what would be a presentation manager function or CPI function,
Well,
those VIP.
Okay.
let me see if it works or if it doesn't. Yeah, DOSBeep is the, oh, you just had one, I know, but this is just searching for the description. Here we find a project that is a sample of using DOSBeep. Let me see if there was a better search. I'll type all. Let's see. Because there are better search functions.
DOS sleep.
DOSBeep is the function that makes the computer beep.
No, not
No one
DOS
should use that
sleep.
function though.
No, I know, but okay, here I find the good search. The good search is on the top of GitHub. Yeah, I was searching for that. It's right here. So if we use the search there, it will try to search in all your organization the DOSBeep function. I will say, okay, find me repositories that say DOSBeep. You say, okay, here on the text is DOSBeep. I found this repository. Okay, find me in all the organization the code that has DOSBeep. Oh, I've used detective mechanism. First time I see this. I don't know what happened on GitHub. This must be the Microsoft change. Nah. No, you have triggered and I've used detective mechanism. Please wait a few minutes. Maybe the search was very aggressive. I don't know. But I can search in all the OS2 World repository for inside the circles, everything that says DOSBeep. So I find, okay, this project in this part says DOSBeep, on this part says DOSBeep. So I can search for a strange function, how it was used in some specific project. Okay, commits, I don't think I have commits. Issues, no, I don't have issues. But code was key here.
Ah,
I don't know what happened.
So how come you can't?
Yeah, so please wait a few minutes before you try again. Maybe it's something temporal in GitHub. Okay. So this is what I wanted to show you about OS2 World. You can easily get into the repositories. You can clone them to your computer. If you want to do something, well, you can contact me and say, I want to take over the repository and keep developing it. Or if I don't reply, if I'm not there, you can fork the repository and work on it. I'm not an expert on that, but I have tried a little bit. When somebody forks the repository, they want to commit it back to the source. How to do that? I have experimented with that, but I'm not an expert. There are people that do that all day, so it's not like a big thing, but it can be done. So there you have this for you to search for any kind of strange function you may have on OS2 World. Okay, on OS2 code. Sorry. So that's it. Any questions about it? Huh? Well, GitHub now belongs to Microsoft. There haven't been any changes. Well, we generally freak out very early and do changes very late or take decisions very late. So I think there's no time to. There's not a moment right now to freak out about GitHub belonging to Microsoft. I don't think that Microsoft wants to screw their investment right now. And the good thing is, well, everything that I have here is also my machine. I have the backup on my machine. I try to once a year take a backup and upload it to the Internet Archive as a backup of all these projects. And there are also other, like two more guys on the OS2 World community that have some scripts that when I commit something or upload something, they quickly replicate the circle of this. So I'm hoping for this to stay like long time. So even if Microsoft say no, GitHub is no longer for OS2 software, we will find a way just to move it somewhere else. Okay.
I think it's ironic you have a Microsoft source code as your first entry.
Where?
Your first entry, dev samples IPCX.
Ah, okay.
Samples from Microsoft.
Well, it's not my first entry; it's the last.
Oh, okay.
It put the last thing you did that
The
I
last thing you
uploaded
did.
on August.
Okay.
on the top of the list.
Yeah.
And they put the more old stuff
Eiffel.
on the bottom.
Yeah.
For example, I
Oh,
have
sure.
here, this is July 9th, my birthday. Okay,
Uh-huh.
I was, I don't know, a lot of things on my birthday. Okay, and I have all the pages. If you wanna see maybe one of the first one I uploaded. Maybe the first one I uploaded, I never upgraded, was 2012. A development sample from the workplace shell called X-Ray. Yeah? Then I uploaded ZipZap. ZipZap was, I think the author gave me, I think I contacted the author gave me permission, and we open source ZipZap. Okay? So it's from 2012. Yeah? See? Here's the game. Here's more WPS. I kind of like started with WPS. I have like an obsession with the WPS. I really like
Yeah.
the human-computer interaction, and I try to see how many utilities or how many software was developed for the workplace shell, which doesn't mean the presentation manager exactly. It means it used presentation manager and workplace shell classes. And there are not a lot. It's like the killer application of the workplace shell is workplace shell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the bigger application we have over some is like the base, the runtime base, and we have workplace shell on top, and that is the bigger application, and there are little things over workplace application, but it's not like there are a lot of applications. Once we discussed with Alex some time ago on the chat and say what was more priority, presentation manager or workplace shell, and I say for all the applications you have in workplace shell is more priority to open source or to have some kind of placement, presentation manager. Yeah, so I think that maybe presentation manager is more like the soul of OS2 looks alike,
Yeah.
more than workplace shell. Yeah, well, that's just personal opinion, okay? So there you have it. You have like almost 2,000 projects to find some reference about source code or programming on OS2.
Fabulous work.
But,
Fabulous work.
yeah, thank you very much, thank you.
All right. Thanks.
Okay.